Do you ever feel like every story idea has already been created and there is no originality? Well, this video is for you. I'm going to give you 3 tips and 1 exercise that's going to help you solve that problem and realize that your idea is actually super original. Let's get into it. Hello, Shadi here, Black novelist in Japan, hoping to give you some writing tips and techniques to help you write your heart's contents. You can check my previous video on Miracle World inspiration. Up above, I'll have the link up there. I never know where it is. You can pick your poison and watch along, or just use me as background noise. Either is okay. But let's go ahead and get into the topic of originality. So I really wanted to talk about this topic because, first of all, everyone wants to be original, but what does original actually mean? Also, I started watching this video on Facebook. I hope I'm not showing my age. I'm old, but I'm gonna probably put it up here. I realize these guys are so creative, and I know it's just a video, but you know, I think to some degree, all novelists are wondering, oh, has this idea been done? I'm so sorry. So I forgot to say, I'm at my parents' home in the basement right now, recording this video, and in my Japanese parents' home. And the way it's stationed is that I'm right next to the garage, so you can hear like gada 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 gada. That's just the garage, and the wind is super duper strong today, so it is what it is. Just bear with me. Thank you to my parents for letting me visit. Anyways, so the video in question that I'm talking about, or videos, are from this. I'm gonna put it up on the screen somewhere. I want you to look at how original it is. Like, every video they make feels like a fever dream, and everyone in the comments says that. It's just so funny. So I'm gonna put it up now.
Hey, buddy, got something that belongs to me?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Then lift that foot.
Over my dead body.
It would appear so. Mind if I ask you a couple questions?
I got nothing to hide.
Where were you between the hours of 8 and 9 tonight?
What do you say we make this all go away?
All right.
Did you just accept a bribe?
Will this keep you quiet?
You got a deal.
We're done here.
Got something that belongs to me?
What, this? Is it my wallet?
How did you... Dude, stop!
Dude, you carry Axe body spray in your pocket?
Yeah, I never leave the house without it.
Whoa. Pull the car around, will you?
Yes, sir.
You take tips?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Yeah, knock yourself out, kid.
Okay, so I know you have to be wondering first, what did I watch? And I'm wondering, how are they creating this stuff? Like, are they? No, I'm kidding. Don't come for me. But it just made me really think about originality, creativity, and also when I have my own ideas, because I get inspired from so many other things I see or do, or even other novels and other writers. I'm wondering, you know, what exactly is originality or original in the grand scheme of things? You should be thinking about this or caring about this, because a lot of writers think, oh, well, I have to be original, or I have to reinvent this idea or do something grand, or I don't know, grandeur, when that's really not even the case. Like, it's about combining ideas so that you can get a perspective or provide a perspective that only you would have. The writing process becomes easier. It becomes one with less pressure. It becomes one with just more freedom and fun. I don't know. There are so many reasons why you should think this way. I'll talk about it. What makes an idea original? It's about combining things and providing It's about combining things in a way that only you would think to combine them. And just think about it. You're the only one in the world with your perspective and that can say things in the way that you know how to. That makes you unique, and anything you say or think super unique. By the end of this video, if I've done my job correctly, you will have a new idea, and you should be able to create a really new original idea, which I am going to do my job correctly. So, but I just want you to keep a few things in mind. No one in this world has your exact emotional perspective, obsessions, or your worldview. That in and of itself, if you make sure to keep these 3 things in mind as you're writing, you're on the right track. you're on the right track and you're on your way to making a really wonderful novel or poem or just something very beautiful that you want to create and bring to the world. That being said, let's go ahead and go into my 3 tips on how to be original in your writing. Tip number 1, the most obvious one, is stop trying to be original. Start being specific. Originality isn't created by creating or inventing new plots or ideas. I mean, it can be, that is, of course, original, but it's more about narrowing in, focusing in, zooming in, using your Canon or Nikon, whatever, camera to zoom in and hyper focus on something so that it provides a unique perspective that other people that zoomed in a different angle can't provide. I hope I said that right. So I'm gonna give you an example just to make sure we've got everything going. You guys are on the same page as me. I'm gonna list it up here, and I'm also gonna read it so that I don't mess this up. There's heartbreak, which can be boring or good depending on how you think of it and how you write it. Or the example I'm gonna put up here is heartbreak because he corrected her grammar in public and she felt intellectually small. Like, I know that's just a very simple example, but I imagine myself being put in a situation, even that's a really small example, but I know if I'm already feeling like someone doesn't like me, or let's, in this case, say if it's a lover that is going out of their way to correct me, make me feel stupid in front of people, that is a certain kind of heartbreak, I feel. I'm gonna give a personal example right now about how just like a small thing is kind of a heartbreak. It was a heartbreak for me at the time, but I had this best friend like long time ago. We are ex-friends now I'm not gonna get into it, but I remember this one time, and to anyone it would seem like a simple phone call, but I remember this girl would only call me when she wanted something. And when I had that conclusion, it's like, that was a heartbreak in and of itself. Cause like, oh, you're supposed to be one of my best friends and you're only talking to me when you want something. So I made the decision maybe a day or two before. The next time this girl talks to me, if it is only to ask me for something, I'm done. I'm backing out of this. Lo and behold and lo, skip to, I guess, the next day, or maybe even sometime later the day I made that decision. The phone call happened. She calls, hey, hi, yeah, hey. I was like, I'm so excited to talk to you. I really want to talk to you. Hey, do you have a broom? I kid you not, this girl asked me for a broom. And I remember just my heart sinking in that moment. It was such a simple phone call. But after making that decision, it just felt like I wanted her to prove me wrong so badly. I wanted her to just call and say like, hey girl, what's up? Or hey, let's go get a coffee. Or I don't drink coffee, but I don't try to drink coffee, I should say. But let's hang out, let's do something. But no, it was to ask me for something. And that moment, sinking, gut-wrenching, just from a simple phone call to ask me for a broom. And I did not tell the girl for months after that. But yeah, so that was just my way of saying, like, again, even if I wrote that experience out, while I'm sure people have had heartbreak and calls about brooms and whatever, that is such a unique experience that I've had that I could put into writing that I think would resonate with other people. So again, it's just all about zooming in a little more. You can describe heartbreak, you can talk about heartbreak, but what you really need to be doing is providing an experience is all I'm gonna really say on that. Zoom in, be specific. I'll say as many times as I need to for you to get the idea. Okay, point number 2. You can do, and it's what a lot of people are trying to do now, a narrative inversion. Take a trope that you really love and just kind of invert it a little bit. So I am gonna put up another example on the screen over here and I'm going to read it. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to look at my laptop a little bit, but the example is the mentor who dies to motivate the hero. We've all seen it. Megamind is kind of like, they kind of inverted it actually. They did a really good job with it, but the mentor who dies to motivate the hero. Then inverting it. What does that look like? It looks like, what if the mentor refuses to die? Or what if the mentor dies, but instead of motivating the hero, it actually proves that the person, the killer, the villain of the story is actually the person who's in the right in this moment. Something that you can do if you want to try to do this exercise. This isn't the exercise that I'm going to talk about later on, but what you can do is pick your favorite genre, okay? You can list 5 things in the genre that are like rules or unbreakable rules that most people don't really do in that genre, and then just choose one to break, I guess, to break or shatter and to really kind of shift the conversation. Another example that's just really easy to go through is if you have a detective and he's supposed to find the killer or the murderer or whoever the villain in the story is. You could have kind of like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing, or something where the detective is actually the killer, but for some reason they have amnesia, or maybe it's a split personality, or something where they just don't know that it's themselves. Or another example is if there is a ghost who has to go about finding out who killed them, right? So there's like 100 different ways to subvert it, invert it, flip it, bop it, twist it, or whatever that toy is called. That's just something you can do for narrative inversion, and it's a really great tip for beginners just because it's not too hard to flip. Point number 3 is the core complex triangle. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to put it up over here, somewhere over here. You have point A with the character, point B with the world building, and point C when it comes to the personal fear. Oh, I'm excited to talk about that. We're gonna get into personal fear in a second, but think of this as an original story for like the original story is the triangle, is what I'm trying to say. I'm sorry. With point A, I'm specifically saying that point A is your character's want. What is it that they want? Not like trying to like save the world or world peace or whatever. What do they desire? What is something specific that they really, really, really want? Just an example is maybe they want to be famous. That's a want. That's realistic. Maybe they want a lot of money for one reason or another. Going on to point B, that would be your world building. Don't just say, oh, this is magic, or this is space, or this is blah, 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 blah. Be a little more specific, and let that specificity be a constraint, okay? I know I messed up that word, I'm sorry. So, in saying that, it can be something like, the world is a quiet place and sound is deadly. Now, is that not a unique story idea? I think it is. Let's go on to point C, personal fear. And I'm not just talking about your character's personal fear, I'm talking about your personal fear. What keeps you up late at night? What makes you so scared about losing a loved one, or even forgetting your loved ones? Is your fear even something like being trapped in a job that you really hate, or that you feel like you have to do? There are so many fears in the world. No one in this world is fearless, not a single person. So pick one of your fears and add it into the mix. Okay, you can kind of mix it up and mix in as an example where you have a character who wants to be remembered, but memories are a kind of transaction or a kind of currency, and then you have the fear of them being forgotten, which resonates with everyone. There are so many ways you can go about it, but this is just a very quick, simple, easy example where you can make an unforgettable story. And I can promise you, if I gave 10 people that kind of prompt, they would all come up with different ideas, completely different ideas, no matter how similar that one prompt is. Don't believe me? Go ahead and try it. Comment it down below. I promise you, your idea will be different from everyone else's. That all just goes to say, it's okay to have a unique idea, but I don't want you to really hyperfixate on the uniqueness of your idea. You don't want to be too out there, or you might. But you may lose some readers along the way if it's way too out there. What you want is your unique idea to also be mixed with universal, realistic, and relatable emotions and feelings that will tag the reader in and make them feel like they're a part of the story as well, or to open up some secret part in their brain that they didn't even realize they knew or had, to get them to think differently. Just make sure you have those realistic emotions like love and fear and guilt and all of that fun stuff that make a character and a story unforgettable and very relatable. Now, on to the exercise so that I can help you with your original idea. It'll be super quick, I promise. Just give it a go, give it a try, and we'll see what happens. Choose an emotion. You can choose any of these that I'm going to list over here. Okay. Or you can think of your own. There's 100 gazillion bazillion emotions to go around for everyone. You're going to want that emotion there because emotion is what's going to make the story feel very refreshing for the reader, regardless of if it's a good feeling, a bad feeling, a neutral feeling, whatever. Having that is going to just make them feel like I hope that made sense. 2, at an unexpected world or setting that's just very unique, like a place where people can't lie. I remember in university, there was one guy who wrote a story about people who weren't allowed to laugh. Like laughing was something that people just didn't do anymore. And that brings about the question of what is humor in that world? When something funny happens, how do they react? I don't remember the guy's story, but I just remember that specific plot of it. That can even be something in this day and age where you have marriage to an AI. Very easy to spin that tale 100 different ways. We've seen it so many times and they're all so unique and so weird. Very interesting though. What you want to make sure to do with the first and second point that I just said is just make sure that the setting puts pressure on the emotion that you have. Like what I said with the laughing humor thing, and then a world where you are not allowed to laugh. That creates the pressure because I think the guy said there was like a penalty for laughing, or I really don't remember. I'm so sorry if I'm misspeaking too, but I think there was a penalty or something, so that's why no one laughed. 3, create a character who should not be there. It can look like anything, like a romantic in a very loveless world. That's an interesting story. I would read that. That could be someone who's skeptical in a cult. That's a scary read. I would also be interested in that, but I would probably doki. I don't know if I'd be able to handle reading that. You have the loser or the coward who is forced to be a leader, and there's 100 different ways you could spin any of these ideas to make it very interesting. You're going to have that conflict when it comes to it being mismatched between your character and the world. Already, that's how you build a very, like, again, for my beginners, or even for anyone could use this kind of information and advice, but that's a really good way to get a story going already if you're trying to think of an idea. Obviously, for my fourth and final point of this exercise is just combine everything like a stew that you want to mix up. You have the emotion, the pressure of the world, and then the misfit character. Hello, that is a very original idea. How do you know if you have a good story idea or a strong story idea? You're going to want to ask yourself these 3 questions here. 3 questions that I've kind of already talked about before in previous videos, but 1 is the conflict personal? 2, are the stakes emotional and external? 3, will the story fall apart if you changed the character? I think that if you can answer these 3 questions here, you'll be able to understand more if your story will fall apart with your character, or if not, or if you have a pretty sturdy idea that may actually go somewhere if you invest more into it and actually create it. If you really want to spice things up a little more in the writer's room, you can add in something extra like a betrayal, of course, because you're not just going to want a flat plot, you're going to want a little more for it. So add in a betrayal or some kind of secret identity or some power imbalance or something that really adds in and makes a story fluff it up. Like you wouldn't, or you would, I don't know, people like all kinds of things, but you wouldn't just eat a cake without icing, right? You need a little more, a little fluff, a little extra to get the story going. When I wrote Blood and Water, I didn't even think about originality. I just knew the story would be original. Why? Because I wrote from my own experiences. The whole catalyst for my novel was at the time, my intense disdain and dislike for my siblings. I'm gonna be completely real and completely honest there. It was after a conversation, and I'll get into more about Blood and Water eventually, but after a conversation where they literally went out of their way to try to embarrass me and say things to hurt me, I had one plot idea for my thesis in university, and then I switched it to Blood and Water, which is now going to be my first novel published. Rather than sit with my negative feelings, I decided to write it out in a way where I could enact out things that I can't enact in real life, and read the novel to see the kinds of crazy stuff that happens with the family in this novel. But I wasn't so focused about, oh, revenge story and this and that. There are already so many revenge stories. There are a gazillion revenge stories, but none are gonna have the experiences that I put in and the experiences that I literally that I really embellished to, like, I took my own experiences in the novel and twisted it and decorated it so that it was something completely new that I know no one else has written in this world. While there may be other revenge stories similar to mine, none come close to even touching what Blood and Water is. And I am 1000% confident in saying that. 1000%. If anyone can find something similar to Blood and Water when it comes out, I'll give you $1,000. Hear my words. Mark my words. Okay, wait, no, now I'm actually kind of scared. What if something like is similar? I don't think there is, but we'll find out. And I will say I was very inspired by other writings, and I've said it before, like, The Glory was a huge inspiration for how I went about my novel on revenge, just because at that time I was so obsessed with it. But my story isn't The Glory. And even The Glory isn't The Glory because it took real life stories of other victims that suffered and that had like very harrowing and terrible things happen to them, all built into The Glory in one thing. So it's like all inspired from different things and everything just comes out differently. Originality is not about being the first person to say or write or do something. It is about just being the first person to tell it, or the only person to tell it through your own perspective. Like I said, there's only one you. I think I said before, I don't even remember, but there's only one you. And you're the only one that can say things the way that you can. So make some lemonade out of that. Going forward, my biggest advice is just stop looking at what other people are doing, stop trying to focus on being original, and start just focusing on you and your own originality. Already, no one else is gonna make something that you are thinking of making because they're not gonna say it the way that you want to. So just go with that and have fun writing. So now that I've given you some tips and techniques on how to make an original story, go ahead and start writing, girl, boy, dog, whatever you are, wherever you identify as. Go ahead, start writing, start writing, start writing. You can do it. You got this. I really hope that this video will help you, and I know I'm all over the place, as always, but, you know, it's okay. And also, happy St. Patty's Month, because I did not say that in the beginning. Yeah, I don't know, is St. Patrick's done by now? It's not gonna be done by the time I post this. Anyways, you can check out my other writing playlist up above somewhere, or my writing technique playlist, so that you can get more tips and techniques on how to write. Check out my behind the scenes in the B-roll credit at the end. I worked very hard on the social like video thing at the end, and I love the song that plays. Ito. I don't think I used any research for statistics, or did I? I don't remember. If I did, you can always check in the description box below as well. Fact check me if you want. And I guess that's it. I will catch you in the next video where I talk about something, because I don't remember what I talk about. And that's it. Stay happy, safe, healthy, and always be sure to write to your heart's content or write your heart's contents. Bye!